So last week we did a segment called Electioneer, and we'll do another Electioneer now, talking about politics. Electioneer, integrity in electoral politics. A. Pitching the truth in a post-truth environment. B. Keeping promises. Following mandates. And then I go on to talk about another part of electoral politics, unity, the idea of unity. Unity in electoral politics. With it, the ideological fringe loses, but the party can win. Without it, the fringe wins and the party schisms. Okay, so we are coming into the U.S. presidential election in 2020. The incumbent, Donald Trump, for the Republican side, and then we have a large plethora, about 10 or 15 candidates on the Democratic side, including, but not limited to, Kamala Harris, Tulsi Gabbard, Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, Pete Buttigieg. I think I got that right. Pete, if you're watching, leave me a comment below with the correct pronunciation of your name. We also still have Cory Booker, Julian Castro, as well as Andrew Yang and Amy Klobuchar, among others. Tom Steyer and Michael Bloomberg, who just spent $30 million on ads. Good luck, 77-year-old Michael Bloomberg. I hope you do well. We haven't heard much about Marianne Williamson lately. But let's talk about integrity, because notably Bernie Sanders, as well as a few others, have talked a little bit about integrity and trying to be principled. And Bernie says, in 2016, I was a bit more of a Bernie supporter. Now I run a Trump-positive channel and a Trump-positive mindset. I support the sitting president in any way that I can, and I really do appreciate all the good things he's done. And we try to point out the bad things he's done as well, because you can't really have a complete opinion without a cost and a benefit. So there are some costs and there are some benefits, but because the world is so full of people talking about the costs of his presidency, some rational, some irrational, we focus primarily on the benefits. But of course I will call him out when he makes a mistake. So when you talk about pitching the truth in a post-truth environment, politics is a post-truth realm. Check out my video, Politics is a Post-Truth Realm, for more on that. And so you have a world of hyperbole and false promises and framing things a certain way that benefits their argument, persuades in a specific direction or another. And that goes for both sides, all sides. However you'd like to frame the political sphere or the political compass, this is a universal truth about the truth in the post-truth environment, where you have integrity. They say, well, you did what you said you were going to do. Well, we should want our politicians to do what they say they're going to do, right? But so often you have situations where somebody will promise 10 of something and then deliver 8. Is that a lie? You'll have situations where somebody makes a bit of a big ask. Hey, why don't we get free college and free health care and giant tax raise for the more wealthy that are job creators? How about we do all these things and also have the better foreign policy and no more wars and raise the minimum wage and give everybody a job? These are all beautiful ideals. They're beautiful big asks, things to aspire to, just like a deity. You know, you need a greater power. You need something to aspire to. You can't be looking down. You don't aim down in a negotiation. You aim up. You make a bigger ask, and then you pull it back to be pragmatic and to get what you want, to compromise. You start big, compromise later. That's good negotiation. So you have two ways to go: pitching the truth in a post-truth environment, and then there's B, the integrity of keeping promises and following mandates. You know, if someone has a mandate, say, for example, if a president were to win about 80 or 90% of the counties, In the United States, well, you'd say, well, to some degree, if that president were, say, for example, President Trump, and he says, build a wall, fortify our border security, make sure that illegal and unsavory people are not encouraged to come to our country, just like any other country. It's a bit of a nationalistic stance, and I do consider myself to be a nationalist, America first. But, again, that's a mandate. People want security. They want job security. They don't want people coming over the border just willy-nilly and taking their jobs, okay? Whatever those jobs may be. May they be blue collar, white collar, or other. Then you had Barack Obama, President Obama, who said, we have to fix our healthcare system. So he brought in something called Romney Care. Well, he called it Obamacare. There's some slight differences. And initially, he even had this great idea. Well, I think it's a pretty decent idea because I enjoy choice. The public option. The public option, which of course was then removed in Obamacare. The Affordable Care Act was pushed through. So him following that mandate of, changing the world of healthcare, for better or for worse, he did change it. You have to do something. It might be a mistake. Hey, you might be applying Cunningham's Law. Check out my video on Cunningham's Law for more on that. You might be applying Cunningham's Law and getting it a little bit wrong, and then allowing yourself the openness to change, to adjust to what people's feedback might be, and to learn. So that there is that part of integrity, doing what you say you're going to do. So there's that. There's two different ways you can go. Talking about the truth in a post-truth environment and actually following through. Because you can say you're telling the truth, oh, we're telling the truth, and then you can kind of frame it just the way you want. Well, objectively, someone said this, so now we can say that that's the truth objectively. An expert or someone that's on my team said that it's this way or that way, and now we're going ahead and we're going to say, well, we must move forward. This is objectively moral. This is the right thing to do. Do no harm. We're going to go there. And it's a matter, sometimes it's very subjective, like who is benefiting, where are the costs located. It's when you talk about the truth in a world where people just constantly talk in what they call weasel words. The world of politics is a world of weasel words. May, could, should. Oh, and someone we're talking about the impeachment of 2019, the impeachment saga surrounding Donald Trump. Well, I overheard some hearsay from two people that I don't even know that well, and they were told by somebody else that the president did something bad. What's the truth? What is the truth? Is it knowable? Is it unknowable? But in politics, people just say things, they make statements, and then if they're questioned, they might say no comment. If they're backed into a corner, it's a post-truth realm, folks. Politics is a post-truth realm. So onward to unity. Because when you talk about unity, there are these different groups, subgroups, within the left and the right. Of course, left and right, a false dichotomy, very arbitrary, where you draw that line. A lot of us have the same goals, but different systems, as Scott Adams would frame it. Like the right, for example, is not looking to do things that much differently in the end. They want the same things, success. They want prosperity. They want liberty, positive and negative for all, as does much of the left. Not everybody. You have authoritarians here, and you have authoritarians there, but again, unity in electoral politics. With it, the ideological fringe loses, but the party can win. So when you have unity, the majority, you go with the majority. You go with the majority. Now, inside the Democrat Party, there is this large question right now. Are you going to be more further left? Or are you going to come to the center, to this more neoliberal? Are you going to be a bit of a Marxist, a bit of somebody that's into the socialistic world of economics? Or somebody that's more of a neoliberal that embraces capitalism a bit more and does apply regulation This is a controlled economy. You talk about socialism. If you're going absolute socialism, it's a very controlled economy. Do you want a less controlled one that's more corporation friendly? And is there any form of socialism that goes into that? Are you giving welfare to corporations? So there's all these different questions. Largely, it's the economy, stupid. That's what people tend to decide what kind of politics they like, depending on how well they're doing. If they don't have a job, if they don't have any prospects, if they don't have any opportunity, if they are treated unfairly, they will not feel great. They'll want somebody they can change that. So when somebody like Donald Trump comes out, or Bernie Sanders, an economic populist, and says, well, the people deserve to choose, the people deserve to have more rights, more control, they deserve unions, they deserve a higher wage, a living wage. These are great goals, but capitalism, in my mind, is the system to get there. But of course, thinking in absolutes is a fool's errand, so you can't go all the way in a capitalistic direction. There must be a counterforce, and that is called regulation, that keeps it in check, keeps balance. Balance is the goal. But of course, when you're talking about unity, people say, well, we don't want to give up on our principles. We don't want to come into the bigger Democrat Party tent or Republican Party tent. There's different factions here. In the Republican Party, you have some people that are a bit more traditional conservative or evangelo-con, maybe even neocon. Maybe you want more war and you're into this whole thing about giving corporations money, however you'd like to define these terms. And then you have your more libertarian side, the people that enjoy positive and negative liberty. They want to be left alone. They want the rights. They might be more constitutionalists. They want to be treated with the utmost freedom possible while maintaining an ordered society. Because, of course, with freedom comes chaos. Those two are linked. In order, you have control. It's a balancing act, folks. Just one big balancing act. So without unity, the fringe wins and the party schisms. So you get people that go and say, Bernie or bust, or they vote for the Green Party, or they vote for the Libertarian Party, and they take votes away from this dualistic system. They take votes away from the dualistic sides of Democrat and Republican. Which is a good thing. I think that we need to have choice. We need to be able to choose what we're voting for, who we can vote for. I advocate for, I don't. This label is hard to accept because you have your capital L and your lowercase l. But libertarian beliefs, I consider myself a bit of a left libertarian with a penchant, a love for capitalism. But without unity, the fringe wins, because ultimately they really stick it to the side that they're on, the general side that they're on. When you look at like the Libertarian Party over here, when people that don't want to vote Republican because there's a libertarian aspect to Republican, or right now in 2019, if they don't want to vote Republican, they might vote Libertarian, taking votes away from the Republicans. And the Democrats are trying to embrace progressivism. I do have a video, Word Thinking, Reactionary and Progressive, you can check out with my thoughts on the word progressivism and how it's applied today. But then you have, of course, the progressives, and then you have the general big tent Democrat Party, your Joe Bidens and Barack Obamas. And then over here you have Bernie Sanders and Tulsi Gabbard, sort of what some may consider to be more to the left of those other individuals. More to the left of President Clinton, Bill Clinton. There will never be another President Clinton, most likely. I don't think Chelsea can make it. And Hillary Clinton was one of the worst presidential candidates in history. So I doubt that she'll run again. I don't think that's going to happen. But the party will schism, of course. Some people are going in this direction of Bernie or bust, or they're saying, well, I need to have these principles, talking about integrity as well. I need them to have these principles or else I'm not voting. My morale is gone. And then you have people on the other side as well, the same thing. You have Republicans that are never Trump. I don't want to vote for Trump. If you're going to be, and like they also have their beliefs as far as it comes to libertarianism. They want to abolish the Fed, or they have these other beliefs that are just not in that mainstream, traditional, conservative Republican tent. So there might be schisms, but the fringe will win ultimately. Each election, these third parties, they get stronger and stronger. And I do support that. But I see the friction. We do have people in the media talking about how, oh, Jill Stein is a Russian agent. Russia, Russia, Russia. Moscow, Putin, Kremlin, Tulsi Gabbard, Jill Stein, Roger Stone, Trump Tower, Putin, Russia, Trump. There is this whole thing where it's easy for the media to cast these people as villains, as the enemy, because they have the chance, there is this incentive there, they have a chance to schism and hurt the team they're on. They have a chance to hurt the Democrats or the Republicans. And of course, everybody is incentivized to fight for their team. They're incentivized by money. And if they're principled, it's ideology. Ideology. Yeah, I do support third-party candidates. I do. But I understand, the world of useful idiocy. Sometimes somebody might be principled, but in the optics world, the persuasion and post-truth world that is politics, being principled can be a disadvantage. I hate to say that. I like to be a principled person and stick to my guns and try to speak as objectively and as truthfully as possible, but ultimately a lot of people just take one look at something or a number of just cursory glances and they make a decision. They're thinking optically. They're not thinking rationally. They're thinking irrationally. We are irrational beings. We make irrational choices. And then we rationalize them later. So, a lot of it is optics. Perception over reality. And it's important to remember that.